pickup truck. American made, that's how I was raised up. I like the boys with the southern drawl. Lord knows it's sexy when they say, hey, y'all. Yeehaw. I don't get into no politics. I like to kick it out in the sticks.
Hello, you're on Hit Real Radio. Who are you speaking with?
This is Nikki. Hi.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
How are you? Was that just a wild guess that I was on the line, or were you, like, just had your fingers crossed?
I dabble in psychic work here and there.
Oh, right on.
Definitely appreciate you coming on tonight. How's your day been? How's the day been?
It's been good. I, went to the gym, got my hair done. The normal. Been pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're now on the line with Mickie James. So again, we'll be talking to her about, hardcore country, Strangers and Demons, and TNA. If you have any questions.
Strangers and Demons.
Sorry.
That's not the name of the album, but that's kind of scary.
Wait, yeah, sorry.
It was close.
Sorry, my bad.
What you of course meant is her brand new, or an album that is about to come out, which is not Strangers and Demons. You can check it out at MickieJames.com. I'm sorry, I say I just can't get over that. Strangers and Demons. You're renaming her album. Would you like to produce a couple tracks on the album?
Who? You? Oh, gosh.
No. It's Angels. It's Angels.
It is Angels. But Demons, too. I mean, we all have those.
Absolutely. But the album that he was referring to, it's on pre-order right now. How long before it actually drops?
Actually, Strangers and Angels, it came out last year, and it was on iTunes for a while, but we ended up pulling it because of there's no sound scan, so it's going to go back up. But you can get it on my website now, and obviously, if you ever see me in person, I usually have it on me. So, or at concerts and stuff like that, we sell them at the merch stands and stuff. So.
Absolutely.
Right on. But we are actually getting ready to go back into the studio, hopefully soon, and do a second album. And so that hopefully maybe, by the end of the year, have that one out.
Right on, right.
So the feedback for this album must be, it's been a great feedback for you to be, jumping back into the studio, I'm assuming, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, it's all got positive reviews from, Country Music Weekly and on down the line. It was, got the AOL report from the boot and then a bunch of different stuff all when it came out. So it's just really positive. And then within the first week it was on iTunes, it was, on the Country Music downloads. And this is for a debut album from an artist that most people, in the country music world or whatever in the music world, they know me from wrestling, but they don't know anything from the music side. But in the United States, I think it hit the charts at number 60 on the iTunes downloads, and then in Canada it was number 23 or so, and then in the UK it hit number 9, all within just on the country music side of the downloads charts, which was really cool. For my, a debut album, right out of the gate.
Well, yeah, I gotta ask because I did get to take a listen at the, the tracks here. We opened up with your, with "Are You With Me" here, which is a pretty hype song. Did you write these songs or co-write or how did?
I co-wrote 3 of the songs on the album. I co-wrote "Hollywood Movie Moment." Then I co-wrote. No Good at Pretending, and Don't Apologize.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And last week we had Christy Hemme on, who, as I'm sure you are aware of, she does her own music as well. She mentioned teaming up with you possibly. Would we see that in the future? A concert with both Christy Hemme and Mickie James?
Hey, you never know. And her style is, like, she's definitely a rocker. And, like, she's so fun. I love her to death. And she's doing awesome, which I'm really excited for. I know she's got a bunch of stuff going on as far as shows and gigs and getting on some tours and stuff. And, yeah, so you never know. I think that it would be a cool contrast just because it is two different genres. And it would be fun to do. Plus, the two of us together would really kick ass. All pun intended. Because if you didn't like it, we will jump off the stage and kick your ass. What?
I actually listened to a couple of the tracks. The first track, "Are You With Me?" I'm feeling that. I'm feeling Straighter Than Angels, and I mean, I think when everybody picks up the album or looks at the album, I think they all pretty much want to jump right to that last track.
Oh, it's so
just because
fun.
of the name itself.
Yeah. And the thing is that when we first, obviously, like, that was like almost like a thing. I first heard that in a publishing company when I first heard it, and I was like, oh my God, that's so fun. And, obviously, like, nobody would cut it because of the name, and that track itself made the album, like, explicit just because of the language, I guess. Which I've heard a lot worse language, I think, on several different albums, but, whatever. But, yeah, and then so when I was talking to my producer about it, he was like, and I told him, I was like, I really want to cut that song. I mean, if there's anybody that can cut it, like, I mean, hell, I'll cut it. Why not? He was like, you will. So it was kind of funny, but then it was like, no, you won't. And I was like, no, let's do it. And he was like, all right. So it's kind of funny. And it's like one of those all-girl anthems. Like, I could totally see it in, like, a club and a bunch of drunk girls yelling with their finger in the air. Or a shot. I don't know.
Absolutely. Now, could you go into detail about some of the songs? Perhaps meaning behind any of them, or would you like us to, mention the title and then you can give us the meaning behind it?
I think that originally for this album, we were just trying to do pull together, like, what represents me, and I think each of the songs, whether I wrote them or not, like, Are You With Me, honestly, is a killer song, and the Peach Pickers wrote that song, which has written tons of number ones for various artists, and that was actually the original single. And Brooks and Dunn were actually supposed to cut that song. They had it on hold, and obviously they retired last year after 20 years, and so the song became available, and somehow I ended up getting it, and that was actually my producer's pick, because when I originally heard the demo, it was a guy singing on the track, and it was very twangy and very, very country the way it sounded, and I don't think I'm the typical country artist. I'm definitely like Southern Rocky kind of meets soul meets country, so I was like, I don't know, it's just like, I don't know if I can pull that off, and he's like, heck yeah, so we ended up cutting it. It's awesome. It's a very rockin' tune. It's very like a Anthony kind of stadium type of music, I think. And then there's various songs on there. Like I Call the Fight was actually one of those songs that I just related to, I think, because of living my life in the ring for so long. And it's also, it shows a different side of that life, I think. And even though it's related about relationship-wise, for me, it was my relationship with, wrestling and being on the road. And at that time, I was still with WWE, and I was on the road with 250 days out of the year. And I think that last year I was home maybe 20 days. So, between going to Nashville and doing all that. And so, and the songs I wrote, obviously, they all have their own kind of meaning too and backstory too. So it's just, I think it was, I was actually very fortunate to be able to have some of my own stuff go on the album, because it was one of those things, like, if it didn't stand up to the rest of the music that was being pitched from different publishing companies. I mean, these are top writers in Nashville that this is all they do. Like, that's their job, is to sit down and write killer songs. And so the fact that we were able to make my song stand toe-to-toe with those was a pretty good thing for me, and it made me feel good at the end of the day, you know.
Good. That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. You know, your transition, you know, you're still wrestling, but obviously the transition from wrestling to country music, how did your friends and family members take it? Because we look at Hollywood now, and rappers want to be actors, and actors want to be rappers, and, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I think, you know, the people, my family's always supportive of me no matter what I do or you know, through anything that I've ever done. They've always been behind me 100%. I think my friends mostly thought, like, especially friends in the wrestling business were predominantly like, well, why? Like, why would you even bother? Like, you've already made this name for yourself in wrestling, and it's going to take away from, you know, your time, and, you know, you have such little time to yourself already, so it's totally going to absorb all that time. Like, why even bother? And mostly the answer was because I've always wanted to, and I want to, and I have a chance to do it, so I'm going to do it. And, yeah, I mean, it's definitely gotten different perceptions of, like, until they've actually heard the CD or even actually came out and heard me in concert, they're like, wow, man. So now everybody's totally supportive, and which is really cool. And if they weren't, then, hey, they weren't my friends to begin with, were they?
Fair enough. And on Raw, we were just talking about it before you came on. Edge just recently retired or announced his retirement. You know, would you make this leap from country and retire altogether from pro wrestling?
Well, I think it's common knowledge that not any performer can, especially in the world of wrestling or fighting or any athlete, can't do that for the rest of their life, no matter how badly we want to and how much we love it and how much, you know, passion you have for it. Physically, your body can't last in any type of sports industry business for the rest of your life. So the fact that, you know, I mean, I'm sure that was a really tough decision for him, and I don't think that anybody should look down on him for having to say, like, physically, I cannot do this anymore, and my life is more important than wrestling, unfortunately. Like, I mean, as heartbreaking it is for the fans, they should respect the fact that, you know, he has stuff, you know, he has a life outside of wrestling, outside of what you see on TV, you know, that 15 minutes that you see on TV every week, that he has a larger life outside of that, and it's very important to, like, stay healthy and to be able to walk when you're 60 and be able to turn your head. I mean, like, he's already had